I told myself, you're putting so much pressure on liking this that you haven't really given yourself the option to not like it. Like, it could just be so irritating for you and draining, and you could absolutely hate it, Jess. So like, you need to kind of let that be a possibility. And then once I did that, I actually felt a lot better. I felt a lot more calm. Hello and welcome to the Empress Podcast. I am your host, Jessica, known in the online space as Jess the Empress. I started this podcast to help you be present with yourself, cope with chaos, and simplify your life. I do this by combining psychology, behavioral science, and the tarot. I have a background in mental health, specifically a master's in clinical social work from USC, and I'm a professional tarot reader. So get ready to have a nurturing, creative, and empowering experience with me as we use practical magic. Hey love, before we get to today's episode, I want to ask you to rate and review my podcast. Giving me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would mean the world to me. I love knowing who's listening and what everyone is getting from the episode, so please take a moment of your time to share your thoughts, and I look forward to reading your reviews soon. Hey there, coffee lovers. Are you tired of settling for boring coffee? I have a treat for you. Today's episode is brought to you by Heartwork Coffee Bar, your one-stop destination for exceptional coffee experiences. Whether you're a coffee connoisseur or just someone who appreciates a great cup of joe, Heartwork Coffee Bar is here to elevate your coffee game to new heights. At Heartwork Coffee Bar, they take pride in their craft because each batch is carefully roasted to perfection, ensuring that every sip is a symphony of flavor. From the rich and the robust to the light and fruity, they have a coffee blend for every palate. And here's the best part. For you amazing podcast listeners, Heartwork Coffee Bar is offering an exclusive 10% discount on your purchase. Just use the code EMPRESS10 at checkout and you'll save big on your order. Why settle for ordinary when you can indulge in the extraordinary coffee from Heartwork Coffee Bar? Remember to use code EMPRESS10 for that special 10% discount and treat yourself to the coffee experience that you deserve. Don't miss out on this fantastic offer. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks to Heartwork Coffee Bar for making today's episode possible. Now go grab your favorite mug, brew a fresh cup, and enjoy the podcast with the perfect companion, Heartwork Coffee Bar. Cheers. Hey, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Jess. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Welcome. So I am going to talk about an experience that I had very recently. This is like only 2 days ago, but I am really excited. It took me a while to decompress, and I'm going to talk about that as well. But yes, let's go ahead and get into it. The main focus of this episode is all about the stress of doing new things. And I'm going to use my experience and the stress that I went through when it came to booking my first party gig. There's so much to unpack about this, especially if you are a tarot reader. So I don't even know where to start, but I have a little list of things to talk about, so I can keep myself on track. But let me just tell you, a friend of mine said, join this Facebook group. I saw an ad in there for a person who needs a tarot reader for a party. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of fun. I have no idea what to expect. I'm kind of nervous about this, but let me contact this lady and see like what's up. So I had a chit chat with her and like a little interview. And then I did a reading for her, and then she's like, okay, like you're fine. You're good to go. So I want to hire you onto my group of people, and I send you leads, and then you give me a small cut for basically like pushing this lead towards you, which is so fine because I don't want to spend my time chasing leads. So this works really, really well. I love these types of collaborations. So then I was like, okay, cool. Send me what you got. So she sent me some things, and I took a bid for one at UCSD, which if you don't know, UCSD is a really incredible school here in Southern California. And I was like, this is going to be my first tarot gig. If I get this would be amazing. And I ended up booking it. let me tell you. So let's backtrack. I'm so excited. I'm just like missing steps, even though I wrote everything down. But prior to this, I bought all this stuff because I was like, well, I'm getting into this field, this area. I know I'm going to get gigs. I don't know when I'm going to get them, but I know I'm going to get them. So I'm going to go ahead and get what I need to be professional and to show up fully prepared and to have a really nice time and make a positive impact on people. And so I went and bought all the aesthetics that you need to have like this moody table. I got this dark green silk tablecloth, and my partner bought me the black lace overlay on it. I have wooden bowls for crystals, so that way if you get a reading from me, you can hold the crystal and kind of, handle it as you're getting a reading. And I bought a gold picture frame, and I put my username, Instagram, business website, and everything in there. And then I laminated it and put it in the picture frame. It looks really, really pretty. I got a little gold tray for my business cards, just these little things that really add pop to the table and don't make it look so boring. And I got a shawl for myself because it kind of, gets cold outside when you're reading or at a party or whatever. And just something a little cute to cover up with. And was like, okay, these are small investments that I'm making for a successful future for myself. And I'm so grateful that I have the ability to put money away in my savings account, my business savings account. So there's 2 or 3 business accounts I have, and one of them is for these long-term investment purchases. And then the other one is for my taxes, because I am doing business as, so I file as a contractor every year for my taxes. And I have to pay those taxes. They don't get taken out of like a paycheck like you would if you did I don't know what the other ones are, W-2, I guess. So I have to be organized with my money. And so I was like, okay, cool. This is exactly what I save for so that I can spend on these things. And then the other thing is jumping into this arena, there's a lot of things that I didn't know. And so another small investment I made that really prepared me and was very impactful to my success was this book called Have Tarot, Will Party. And the author, Jenna Matlin, is so incredible. I cannot even express, this was a $12 book from Amazon. And the way that she outlines things in here is just easy to digest. It's easy to read. And honestly, just makes it so much more fun and exciting to step into the world of professional tarot reading as a party tarot reader. Very different space than if you're a one-on-one tarot reader for something like someone's spiritual development, and I'll get into how it's different. Jumping into this, I had an increase in stress because there was a whole new thing I'm saying yes to, and I have no idea what it's going to be about. So I definitely had to really pay attention to my self-care, and I was totally freaking out the day before the event. I was so anxious. It was hard for me to eat that day. I slept in because the event had about 80 people, and when you read for people at a party, you aren't sitting there doing a long talk with people. You're having a very quick exchange. You're pulling cards, reading what you see, closing out the little session, and then bringing on the next person. It's very rapid. And so I knew that I was going to be doing that in the evening, and I'm like, well, I don't want to work during the day, so I slept in. And then I had intended actually to go on a hot girl walk, on a longer hot girl walk, but 2 things happened. My body was just not interested in it. It felt very difficult for me to do that. It felt very overwhelming. And then it was hot as shit by the time that I got up. So I was like, oh my God, what else can I do? I need to get into my body, and I need to release this tension and this stress. So I ended up doing a yoga session just at home. And just really lengthening and stretching my body and just feeling that slow and intentional connection to all of my limbs and muscles. And it was really, really nice and refreshing. To be honest with you, as I'm saying it now, I can kind of feel how I probably am going to do another one before the end of tonight. So that book helped, being really, really clear, making sure I was hydrated. I had my magnesium that day, and I'm always drinking my magnesium, but I was like even more deliberate about having it in the morning of the event. And I have my hemp protein smoothie. So I really was like, let me do the things I know that are good for me, because one, I deserve it, like point blank period. But then two, it's only going to make me a better reader and more present while I'm at this event. And I journaled as well. I have to tell you guys, so I have this crazy thought that pops up in my head sometimes, and I feel like it's directly related to performance anxiety. And the thought is like, what if I put the cards in front of me and I just like don't remember what to do? Which is like so irrational, but also having irrational thoughts is just a part of the human experience. So it just kept rolling around in my head, and I was like, this is so silly. But then another part of me was like, well, let me see like where this goes. Let me go ahead and journal about this and uncover what I need to uncover and integrate what I need to integrate. There's something here. And so I did. I spent about an hour just writing about it and being really real with myself. And I like to do the and then what technique, which is, okay, so if I do pull cards and I don't know how to read them, then what do I do? So then I journaled about that. And I also had other things popping up in my mind, like what if nobody likes what you're doing? What if you make someone mad? All the what ifs, right? And so then I would, again, go in journals, okay, and then what? Just really arriving to the conclusion that it's all going to be okay. Even if the worst case scenario happens, the worst case scenario would be no one likes me, the table's not busy, I don't get booked for another gig, I tried something, I learned, okay. Like, that's it, really. So everything I can survive from. And I think it was really important for me to pull that out of me and just arrive to that conclusion to just clear my mind. And after that, I felt pretty good and pretty settled. And I made sure that I got a really good salad before I started the event. I got there, met with the people that I needed to meet with. I set up. And the actual experience itself was incredible. I sat down and one person showed up, and then it didn't stop. I looked at my clock on my watch, and it was 2 hours. My 2-hour timeline that I had booked for this event was up. Like, it was on the dot. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I don't feel like time has flown like that in a long time for me. And so what I loved so much about the experience was the one-on-one connection, the eye contact, being in close proximity to other people, listening to the subtle signs of their body and making people laugh and enjoying it, being in an atmosphere that was really loud and fun and vibrant. The theme at UCSD was the Colorful Carnival, and it was put on for the Stewart Collection art group. And one of the other incredible things about this is that there's a sculpture in on the UCSD lawn, and it is the sun god, and the lawn is called the Sun God Lawn. And the creator of the sun god statue also made a tarot deck. And I was blessed enough to be able to work with the tarot deck that evening, which was incredible to work with another creator's deck. Nikki, the creator, has actually passed on. And so before I started reading as well, I just connected with that energy, and I was like, I want to do you proud. Please, be present with me. I really want to represent you and the messages of tarot, and to make this a transformational experience for everybody. And I just kind of left it at that and shuffled the cards. My tarot card for that evening, because of course, I'm going to pull one for myself, was the Strength card. And I couldn't be more happy to see the Strength card. Being a Leo, and Leo is connected to the Strength, it was basically like, girl, come on, like, you're in your element. This is what you're here to do. Like, you're a performer, and you are incredibly compassionate, and you are so wonderful at connecting to other people. So this is going to be fine. Just make sure that you check your ego, okay? Like, kind of really soften into this. And the biggest energy that you bring to the table is your confidence and your childlike joy. The fact that you are so open is so readable for people. It is so magnetic, and that can never be separate from you. Be you. Like, be your authentic self, and that's the transformation that people are looking for to have. So I was like, okay, I've got this. And then, I had the experience. And after it wrapped, I was like talking to the coordinator, and I said, if you ever need me to read for any other party, please pass my information along. I would love to. So I left that night feeling pretty tired in the best way and excited. I also chugged a cold brew before I got there from Hartward Coffee Bar. I was up until like 2 o'clock in the morning. I think part of it was like the high of reading and connecting in such a fast-paced way. It was like very adrenaline boosting. And then the other thing was the cold brew. So it took me a while to like decompress. My confidence has been boosted in the best way. And I feel like a lot of the friction that came along with this new level is what's boosted my confidence. Like just being able to acknowledge the friction and the stress, and then choosing to do something about it in a way that is, authentic with me and what my needs are. Just really, all of it really added up to having such a great time. But yeah, I was like talking to my partner a lot, and I was like, babe, I'm freaking out. I even told him just the silly voices that were in my head about the performance. And I'm so grateful for my partner. I just want to take a minute and say that as well. I feel like, one of the reasons why I'm able to go into these experiences is because I feel supported within myself, but I also equally feel supported by my partner. I mean, he was with me the whole time. He helped me set up, made sure I was eating really well and staying hydrated. Just all the loving things that you want your partner to be, supporting you in. He was there with me the whole time. So I feel very grateful and very blessed. I mean, he's my biggest cheerleader. So and he's also had a lot of years in performing as well. In bands. And so I was like, baby, have you ever felt like this? And he was like, oh my God, of course. And he shared his experiences of, being on stage and everything that he felt before getting on stage and before performing, and how you really do have to shut off the noise at some point and just do what you do. I was just like, you're so right. And so that flow state is chef's kiss experience for me, because to not look at the clock and to just be so present time in and time out with new people and new messages, and every energy is different, is, oh man, it is such a beautiful experience for me. It is something that I really love. And I took that away from that night as well. Just this refreshing inspiration. And I used to feel that way when I would throw down a blanket in Pacific Beach here in California and San Diego, and I would read for people that would come up on the boardwalk. And I felt that same sense, and I haven't been connected to that since pre-C19. So the fact that I've had it again was great, and even in this bigger way. I got paid to do this, which was incredible. I mean, I did get paid on the beach, for the little readings or whatever, but this is different when it's contracted by a company and an event coordinator and everything. It's a whole new level of professionalism. And so for me to be able to represent myself that way is also a boost of confidence. I am the business. It's me. It's my face. It's my skill. It's my reputation. And so I am responsible for it, in all ways. Is kind of nerve-wracking, and I think that added to my freaking anxiety that day. And then just also finding that balance of well, maybe I'm making this, I'm losing the joy. I'm losing the sense of playfulness with this if I'm getting too wrapped up in everything and getting too in my head. Excuse me. So I need to, again, decompress, find that joy, find the levity in all these things. And another thing is, I gave myself full permission to not like it. And this was obviously before I did it. But I told myself, you're putting so much pressure on liking this that you haven't really given yourself the option to not like it. It could just be so irritating for you and draining, and you could absolutely hate it, Jess. So you need to kind of let that be a possibility. And then once I did that, I actually felt a lot better. I felt a lot more calm about everything. And and that's another way we deal with stress. I think that sometimes we take it upon ourselves to make it work. Whatever it is that we're going for, we have to have it work out for our best. And if it doesn't go according to plan, and if we're not happy at the end of it, then it's the worst case scenario. But again, that isn't true. If it makes us happy and it is authentically us, then that's great. And if it isn't, then that's fine. Claiming your authentic self and your truth over the experience is what matters the most out of all these experiences that we go through. So this was definitely a really cool test for me, and I'm like feeling so good that I've come out on the other side of it. In terms of like managing people at the party, everybody was pretty chill. Like I didn't have anybody asking ridiculous questions, but I also feel a contributing factor to my confidence here is the fact that I have been doing online readings for so long and I've been asked anything that you could be asked, inappropriate things, just crazy stuff. And so I've heard it all, seen it all. Nothing really shocks me. There's a difference between doing it online and in real life, right? Like having to set different boundaries. There's definitely ways of like corralling people who love to share their whole story. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start the timer. I have 6 minutes. We have 6 minutes. And this is the time that I'm allotted for. So I kind of like that aspect of putting other people on a clock and just letting them give their piece for a minute and then saying, great, let's see what the cards have to say. And then sharing what I have. Yeah, and I think it's interesting to read in shorter increments instead of doing 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour like I do with some of my other clients. So I got tipped as well, which was really, really nice. I don't know if you know this, but it is customary to tip your tarot reader. A lot of people don't know that, so a lot of people don't tip, and it wasn't something I had expected. But I was genuinely happy to receive that cash. I actually spent a little bit today on the swap meet. I got this really fun ring. I don't know. It looks like it could be like a Lord of the Rings kind of Harry Potter Slytherin vibe ring. I don't know, but I'm really obsessed with the dark green and the gold. I just was like, okay, I need this. So yeah, I got to do a little spending today, so that felt nice. And so the core pieces of managing the stress, another contributing thing in my personal life, anxiety, is when I don't know things. When I don't know things, I tend to get anxious. And part of the way that I relieve anxiety is by educating myself. And so I'm just going to look at people who have done it before and who have graciously, shared their information to make the path easier for me. So education was the key piece in me feeling a lot more calm and in managing my stress. The second thing was doing a brain dump and journaling and confronting my triggers and my fears and my worries. And the third thing was getting into my body and making sure that I was stretching and walking and doing the things that move this energy, this anxious energy out of me and kind of bring me back down to a baseline. The fourth thing was making sure that I was hydrated and well fed. The basics, I know, but when it's high stress, we can want to reach for things that don't make us feel good in the long run. And I'm not saying that I ate perfectly that day. Like I did have, I think, a couple pieces of chocolate as well. But overall, if we're talking about balance, I did have my hemp protein and my magnesium and just the things that do tend to keep me feeling good on the day-to-day. So I just want to say that you have to treat yourself with respect, right? Like even during stressful times and even when you want to burn everything to the ground and like sabotage it. And I definitely felt a little bit of that where I was like, I just want to sleep all day and I don't want to do anything. And I was so anxious to prepare for the event. And yeah, I just, like I said, I had to confront that stuff within me. So like, I feel like it doesn't matter how many levels you get to in your life. Like there's always going to be a new devil that you have to be prepared to face. And so whatever you need to face it is like based on your unique needs at the time. But understanding yourself is the best way to meet those needs and to have your own back. And I believe that having your own back creates internal trust. And that internal trust manifests outwardly as people reading you as a confident person. And people just feel like, wow, like even if you don't have it all together, you definitely have trust in yourself and faith in yourself. So doing all those things definitely helped boost my confidence, because when I trust myself, I know that I can handle whatever it is, even if it's a bunch of stuff that I would rather not handle, I know I can handle it. The experience was really, really amazing, and I'm so grateful. I know that there are going to be more to come. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you're going to stay updated. I actually ended up getting to keep a piece of artwork. It's on styrofoam, but this is a Hierophant tarot. And I think this is so cool. So this kind of gives you an idea of what her art looks like. It was really, really incredible. And I love that there is an eye over the third eye. Just a really freaking cool experience. And I thought that was so generous of them to give me one of her pieces. Like, amazing things can happen when we decide to be responsible for ourselves, and success happens when we decide to be responsible for ourselves, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard, even when we don't know what's going to happen, even when we're freaking out. Loving ourselves and respecting ourselves is truly the key to confidence. Like, I believe it because it's happened so many times in my life, and I know that when I haven't had my back and I've completely abandoned my needs, that's when I have the most regrets. That's when I experience the most pain. And that's when I experience the most, disappointment, like, within myself. So I just want to say, if you're really going for something right now, educate yourself on the ins and outs, kind of read up on what other people have done, not necessarily so that you can copy and paste. I mean, I didn't. There's definitely things in this book that I was like, that's not really applicable. But there's a lot of it that I was like, whoa, this is super eye-opening. So take in different perspectives. That's so, so important. And then reflect on who you are and what you've been doing so far, and how those two worlds may be able to collide, and you can create your own traditions and rituals, again, that are speaking to your authenticity. And the small steps matter. I mapped out the goals that I wanted to hit in making sure that I got everything for the party, in writing emails, in getting photos. There's still quite a few things that I need to do. I want to redo my business cards. I want to take the website up a notch. I want to do a photo shoot so that you can see me with everything, with the cards. There's people that I need to contact for this. So, it's not all done yet, right? But that's okay. It's not going to stop me from taking gigs, and it's not going to stop me from still putting myself out there and connecting to people and letting them know, like, this is what I want to do. So thank you so much for being here and for being a part of my growth. Like, I'm excited. Oh, and I want to mention another aspect of professional tarot reading at a party is that there is definitely a clear line within the tarot community that some tarot readers are like, I would never go to a party. Like, that's such a sellout thing to do. And then there's another group of readers that clearly do it for their profession, so like they don't have that same hang up or whatever. And I just want to say that I had to journal about that as well and unpack that as well, because I was really taking on a lot of like what other people's perspectives of it, but it's like it was more so their criticisms than their it was just more so their criticisms, like that if you do tarot parties, it's like cheapening tarot readings, which isn't true at all. Or that all tarot readings have to be these deep dives into a person's psyche in order to make an impact. And I also don't think that's true, because we are hired as entertainment for these for these events, but entertainment can also be life-changing. Like, it's really incredible for a stranger to reflect back to you something that you have going on in your internal world and that you may not have even voiced to people. It's also really amazing to have a stranger give you some perspective on something that you haven't even ever thought about before, but it's actually good information, and it's something worth like kind of rolling around in your brain in the best way and contemplating, right? And making you think about what else is possible. And that is my purpose. So to be able to do that, whether it's in 3 minutes, 6 minutes, or an hour, is still fine with me. So I don't know, if you are a tarot reader and you're thinking about doing parties or whatever, just ask yourself, can you handle a lot of loud noises? Can you set clear boundaries? Are you comfortable working for longer hours at a rapid pace? Those things are super important for you to consider, because that is going to be a hallmark of whether or not it's for you. Like if you're answering no to most of those, then I don't think that a party reader would be your gig. But for those of you who like high volume and high energy places, and there's lots of like people, alcohol, loud music and random lighting, if that's all fine with you, then I say freaking go for it, and don't worry about what other people say. Like, it's your life. And I know for a fact that people are transformed with my readings. Like I said, whether 3 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do me. And I know that my authenticity is literally the key to my success and magnetism. So it's the same for you. Even if you're in a whole different industry, being authentic to you, being that go-getter and that trailblazer. I mean, some of us are just born that way, and we don't need to apologize for it. We just need to keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, whatever devils you're facing right now, I want you to know that you can handle it as long as you sit down and road map a plan for yourself, okay? And ways that really contribute to your self-care and your personal feelings of satisfaction and safety as well, okay? I did a lot of pep talking my way through and up to the event. That's just a part of it. I don't think that I'll always have to do that, but I don't know. Maybe I will. I feel like having a little bit of anxiety before big events is a pretty normal thing for performers, for anybody in the face of the public eye and open to immediate feedback and criticism in the moment. It's kind of vulnerable, But yeah, I hope this inspires you, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.